Here are 50 of the greatest Stardew Valley tips of all time. Let me know if you knew all of these.
Planting many crops can be really tedious, but it doesn't have to be. All you need to do is hold down the interact key and walk over tilled soil. Your character will automatically plant the crops under your feet. You can take advantage of speed buffs to plant large areas really quickly using this method. It also works when placing down flooring, which is a nice added bonus. You don't actually need to aim your cursor on each and every spot. The same method is considerably more effective when harvesting crops and planting new seeds at the same time. Go from left to right and hold down the key constantly. You will harvest the crop and plant new seeds simultaneously. If you do this perfectly, time will be paused and you can harvest and replant all of your crops with almost no time passing. It's incredible. Don't forget to double down on buffs. That's right, you can get a buff from eating food and you can also get a buff from drinking a beverage. Abuse this. Spicy eel combined with coffee will make you really fast. Once you run around the valley at this speed, the game will never be the same again. In the early game, your inventory is very limited and can cause you to make some very difficult decisions. Luckily, it's easy to solve this. Just place a chest and a couple furnaces on the first floor of the regular mines. Then after every 5 levels, leave the mines and unload your stuff. It really is that easy. Do you have 4 chests holding all of your rings, boots, hats and various clothing items? Well, you do not need to do that. You see this dresser? It is not just for decoration. You can actually place any clothing item inside of these. Very convenient. Want a pretty farm but also need tons of trees with tappers and processing machines? Abuse your desert. You can place almost anything in the desert and it will work in the exact same way as if you placed it on your farm. Now if only we could place garden pots in the desert. The dangerous versions of the mines can be a very fun place. You can farm a bunch of useful resources and the difficulty really does make it more fun until you meet these toxic ghosts. They pack a punch, move extremely fast, and worst of all, they can give you a debuff that prevents you from eating or drinking anything. The nauseated debuff. Fortunately, we can remove this by simply drinking ginger ale. I wish I knew this earlier. You can open up the emote window by pressing Y key on the PC and holding the right joystick in on console. Most of these emotes are really cool and I tend to use them a lot, but they are more than just these. Just hover over an emote, right click on it to change the emote. Look at this massive list of emotes. Now you don't need to be an emotionless log anymore. The mutant bug lair is absolutely useless, right? You come here once to get the dark talisman and never again. Well, look at how big this place is. Use it and abuse it. Place kegs, preserve jars, and even crystallariums here. These will be safe here and keep your farm nice and clean. Do you ever have so much copper ore that you have no idea what to do with them and need tons of iron ore to craft kegs and just cannot get enough of the stuff? No? Well, if you do, you could use this magical feature called Transmutation. Transmutation allows you to combine 3 copper bars into a single iron bar. Moving really fast is good. Eating spicy eel and drinking coffee will make you really fast. Naturally, you can get onto your horse and this speed buff will affect your horse as well. But did you know that you can actually pet your animals while you are on your horse? You can also drop items into the shipping bin, open and close gates, collect loot from fish ponds, and even speak to villagers all while mounted on a horse. This might sound absurd, but just hear me out. In the early game, your inventory is very limited and you will often find yourself having to make very tough decisions, but you don't need to. Just drop those items on the floor on the first floor of the mines and continue on with your adventure. Additionally, if your inventory is still full by the end of the day, you can leave those items on the floor. As long as you don't quit out of the game, those items will be there the next day, ready for you to pick them up and continue on with your adventure. Food was never really that good in Stardew Valley until the 1.5 update landed and we got access to a special seasoning to increase the potency of buffs obtained from food. Now if you use deluxe fertilizer on your crops and eat a buffed up farmer's lunch, you will have a 55% chance to harvest iridium crops. The benefit of this is that these crops sell for way more, thereby allowing you to validate selling them without needing to turn them into wine or jelly. This works especially well with sweet gem berries that cannot be processed anyway. Iridium fish are cool, right? They sell for more, give more energy, make better gifts, and you can even use 9 iridium quality chubs to get first place at the annual Stardew Valley Fair. But to get an iridium quality fish, you will need to land a perfect catch. This is not impossible, but it can be difficult, especially for harder fish. Fortunately, this is where the quality fishing bobber comes in. If you are at a high fishing level like 15 for example, the fishing tackle will guarantee that every fish you catch is iridium quality. It even works on legendary fish. You could catch a legendary fish using this and then lie to your friends and make them think that you got a perfect catch on a legendary fish. Dragon teeth are hard to find, especially if you accidentally destroy them with bombs, defeat lava lurkers with a slingshot, and let hot heads explode on them. Even if you avoid all of these stupid mistakes that I make, they are still somewhat rare. So never, and I mean never, craft island warp totems. Yeah, using Willy's boat is tedious, slow, and a waste of money. Island warp totems are an even bigger waste. Rather stockpile and hoard those dragon teeth until you can build an island warp totem. Now this thing is worth every penny. Get it sooner rather than later. Why the f are you selling quartz? Yeah, you could sell these and make a tiny profit, and yes, you could very easily duplicate them and maybe even make a decent amount of money, but it's still a terrible idea. Did you know that you can drop these into a furnace to create 3 servings of refined quartz? That's right, I did not misspeak. 3 servings of refined quartz. That is just unmatched. Regular quartz cannot compare, and neither can recycling. Speed-Gro is great. Naturally, you should be leveraging Speed-Gro to drastically increase your output and potential profits, but never ever support Pierre and buy deluxe Speed-Gro from him. He is a scammer. He is trying to scam you. Don't be fooled. Rather buy Speed-Gro from Sandy at the Desert Oasis for 80 gold on Thursdays. Don't allow yourself to be scammed. Hops are actually insane if you use them correctly. You see, hops are special. They are a regrowable crop, but they only take a single day to reproduce and be ready for harvesting. Additionally, you can drop hops into a cake to turn it into pale ale. This is also special because they sell for a very decent amount of gold, but also it only takes 2 days to turn hops into pale ale. So you could set something up like this. Just have 2 kegs for each hop crop and cycle the hops into your kegs every single day. Doing this over a long period of time will make you absurd amounts of money. Enjoy your profits. Magic bait is great, right? You can use these to get fish from any season. This helps out a ton if you are chasing perfection or if you need a specific fish for a recipe. But did you know that it also works on those really annoying fish that you can usually only catch in the submarine at the winter night market? Yes, somehow you can cast your fishing line right over here, and just like magic, you will be able to catch fish that swim at the lowest depths of the sea. Cool, right? If you do happen to use the beach farm, you might see these crates wash ashore on your farm. They are often filled with garbage that you don't need or want. But fear not, because these crates actually have levels. Higher level crates give better loot. To increase the level of these crates, just upgrade your farmhouse. The highest level crate can drop deluxe retaining soil and even mega bombs, so yes, this is most definitely worth the effort.
Listen, 100,000 subscribers is just within reach. Subscribe. You won't regret it. Endless Stardew Valley content, but only if you subscribe.
If for some reason you need lots of hardwood right now, well, you could abuse the mines. That's right, the dangerous version of the regular mines has hardwood in it that you can very easily get. Just enter floor 35, chop down the mahogany trees and the large stumps, leave the floor and re-enter. Hardwood has never been easier. Okay, so we all know that animals are good for your pockets. The traditional way of making money with animals is raising them, feeding them, collecting their produce, and then turning them into artisan goods, like goat's cheese, cloth, and most importantly, truffle oil. These methods are very good at making you rich, but there is another way to make money with animals. Yes, I'm referring to raising them, getting them to maximum hearts, and then immediately selling them for profit. This works very well with cows and goats, as you can glitch the game to max their friendship within a single day. However, this works even better with ostriches. This is because you can easily hatch ostriches for free, and then when you do sell them, you'll make a very impressive 20,000 gold for each ostrich that you sell. Don't forget that you can gain friendship faster if you pet them every single day, and if there is an auto petter in the barn as well. While they are in the process of loving you, you can also turn their eggs into mail and make money that way. This is kind of incredible and might be even more profitable than pigs if you set it all up correctly. Oh, you made a huge mistake. You gave someone some flowers and now you are apparently dating them. But this person is not your true love. Fix this by dropping another bouquet into a furnace to burn it, and then give it to them to burn the relationship. But what if you accidentally married someone? This is much worse and must be remedied immediately. Head over to Mayor Lewis. He is a money grubber, so he will allow you to file for a divorce for the low price of 50,000 gold. Do it. Yeah, that's all good, but how do we get an infinite supply of artisan goods to abuse this? It's simple. No, really, it's It is simple. Just craft up like 300 bee houses, get some fairy rose flowers and just drop them all on your Ginger Island farm. No, I do not mean the farmable area over here. That is a terrible idea. I mean over here. This area allows you to grow a very small amount of crops. Abuse these spots by growing fairy roses and then completely covering every available spot with a bee house. Since this is Ginger Island, these flowers will be here forever, allowing you to harvest fairy rose honey every 4 days forever. That is about 350 fairy rose honey every 4 days. That is about 330,000 gold every 4 days. And that is before we abuse the Pierre method from the last tip. Cinder shards, battery packs and dragon teeth, what do these have in common? They are somewhat hard to come by, or are they? No, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Just catch like 10 stingray and drop them all off into a fish pond like this. These magical fish ponds can produce all of these highly valuable items, and you know what? The chances are not bad at all. This is not nearly as unrealistic as hoping for a prismatic shard or a treasure chest from the other fish ponds. This just makes sense. In Stardew Valley, you will eventually need tons of stone and fiber. This is where the Deconstructor comes in. Back in the day, before the 1.5 update, we would have to grind in the mines or buy stone from Robin for a hefty price. But now we can just deconstruct some staircases. Each staircase that we deconstruct will get you an impressive 99 stone. And remember, we can get staircases incredibly easy with the help of the crystallarium. Fiber is a resource that you will always underestimate. You need tons of fiber if you plan to use deluxe retaining soil and garden pots. The only way I ever get fiber is by purchasing grass starters at Pierre and deconstructing them for 10 fiber each. Deconstructors only cost 20 key gems and they will fundamentally change the way you play the game. It takes so much effort to unlock the bone mill, and then it's just a piece of garbage that barely does anything right. Gunther wants 100 bone fragments to get a silly machine that turns bones into fertilizer. What is the point? Don't be silly. With the addition of Ginger Island, we can now get bone fragments in a huge surplus. At the dig site, you will find bone covered rocks. These give bones. And you will always find random bones and artifacts in the mines and in geodes. Once donated, what do you use them for? Just drop them into these bone mills to get fertilizer, deluxe Speed-Gro, quality fertilizer, and even tree fertilizer. These are highly valuable, and if you are still not convinced, go give them a try and watch your profit margins skyrocket. You are sleeping on rain totems. If you have ever planted 500 crops on your farm without any sprinklers, you know the pain of having to water everything by hand just to immediately sleep because you are out of energy. Rain totems will allow you to grow as many crops as your heart desires without having to ever water them yourself or even bother with sprinklers. Just focus on getting pigs as early as possible, place tappers on as many pine trees as you can, and you will be printing rain totems with ease. Then use a rain totem every day. Now the rest of the day you can actually play the game instead of worrying about watering these pesky plants. Enjoy your new fortune. You already know that pigs are just the most profitable animal in the game, but why? Well, it's simple. Each pig will find a single truffle per day. However, if your pigs are happy, they can find more than one. If you have max heart pigs, they can find 3 pieces of truffle per day. With the botanist profession, that is 3,000 gold every single day. And if you turn the stuff into truffle oil, that is 4,400 gold every single day. They are just unmatched. You can cancel animations in this game. It's really hard and tedious if you do not rebind your keys, but if mastered, this can be a game changer. Just hold the right shift, delete and tap R directly after using a tool or performing an action. This will dramatically speed up the game. Speedrunners use and abuse this as they should. Prismatic shards are not rare. They might seem rare, but each iridium node has a massive 4% chance of dropping a prismatic shard. So if you get real deep in the skull cavern, find many iridium nodes and farm those with bombs or with a slingshot, your chances of getting one or even several per skull cavern run are quite high. If you are duplicating diamonds with your crystallarium and decide to change the gem to something else like the mighty Jade, you can just drop the Jade into the skull cavern when it is complete. However, this is a bad idea as the original diamond is still in there. So instead, hit your crystallarium with a tool to reclaim the original gem. Place it down again and then drop your new gem to duplicate in them. Simple yet so elegant. You can use the tab key to switch your hotbar. Sounds silly and not very useful, but it is considerably easier easier than going into your inventory and moving items to your first bar. On a controller, you can use the left and right button triggers to do the same thing. Fish ponds are really weird. You can take the fish out of the fish pond using your fishing rod if you need some quick gold or a specific fish for a cooking recipe. If you have at least one fish in the pond, they will somehow breed and regenerate back up to 10 over time. Use this mini exploit on fish that you frequently use for cooking recipes like midnight carp and flounders for sea foam pudding.
Who the heck actually dives into the skull cavern with nothing but a pickaxe and some bombs? That is just way too inefficient, and I know you know about the magic trick that allows you to get infinite staircases with ease. Oh, you don't? Just use your crystallariums to duplicate jades, as many jades as you can get your hands on. Then trade them in at the desert trader on Sunday for staircases. Now you have staircases, but you are still doing something wrong. You have an endless supply of staircases. Why would you be using them so sparingly? No, get into the skull cavern and spam those staircases until you are deep, like really deep. Do you know what I mean? The deeper you get, the better it gets. You know what I'm talking about. That's where the prize is. This is where your dreams will become reality.
Don't forget that there are so many stores around the valley that you can abuse. The dwarf in the regular mines, yeah, she sells bombs for a very good price. There is another dwarf on floor 5 of the volcanoes that sells bombs and some incredible recipes. Use these guys, buy their stuff, don't forget about their existence. The same is true for Krobus iridium sprinklers every single Friday. How could you forget to get a iridium sprinkler on a Friday for only 10,000 gold? But wait, there's more. The traveling merchant every Friday and Sunday, the island trader on Ginger Island, and even the occasional merchant at the festivals. You can buy some really cool stuff from these suckers. Do abuse the mechanics of the game so that your crop enhancers will never disappear. During the change of a season, if a crop is planted on a crop enhancer, the enhancers will not disappear when the season changes. Fiber is one of the best uses for this, as fiber seeds can grow in any season. Crop enhancers are expensive and take a lot of effort to craft, so make sure they do not disappear. The next one is going to sound like a stretch, but just trust me, okay? There are many incredible items that you can only find inside of those chests in the volcano. You will sometimes find a chest earlier into your volcano adventure, and you are guaranteed to find a chest on floor 9. Unfortunately, the volcano cannot be reset, so it will take you a while to find exactly what you are looking for. But there is a very simple way to increase your odds of getting good loot. This is a golden coconut. Cracking these open will get you some rather good loot. However, as soon as you crack open a single golden coconut, you will start to find them in the chests in the volcano. Do duplicate jades using crystallariums and then trade those in at the desert trader on Sunday for staircases. This is almost effortless once you have a couple crystallariums. This is the only viable way to get staircases in the game without having to break the bank. You can accumulate thousands of jades really easily using crystallariums. If you don't abuse this method, you are just playing the game wrong. It is true that chopping down a tree trunk yields 12 foraging experience, and chopping down a stump will only yield 1 foraging experience. So you could chop down all of the trees like this in the early game to maximize your energy and then clear the trunks later. However, you should never do this on trees that grow outside of your farm. You see these trees by the Sinister Forest? These automatically regrow, and they regrow relatively quickly, but they cannot regrow if you leave them as stumps. This will cost you dearly, as these trees are a reliable, renewable source of wood. Never leave a tree as a stump outside of your farm. It's basically a crime. I know that you abused fishing in the early game to get rich. It's no secret that fishing can make you a decent amount of money, especially if you use the fisher and the angler profession. That will increase the sell price by a very impressive 50%. We might have to create an endangered species here, but it'll be worth it. Sturgeons. They are your ticket to wealth. A gold quality sturgeon sells for 450 gold. Catch 10 a day and that's 4,500 gold. You can catch them during both summer and winter, and if you use some cooked food that makes fishing easier and wild bait, you will be catching plenty of these with relative ease, allowing you to fill your pockets. Or even better yet, just exclusively catch the legend that sells for more than 10,000 gold. This does require many more steps, but can make you rich quickly. Except the extended family quest at Mr. Key's hideout. Now, instead of completing the quest, just catch the legend over and over again for 3 days straight. Sell them, profit. Simple, right? The best way to get key gems is by completing the weekly key special order requests, but you can also get key gems by defeating enemies. The only problem is that it is highly unreliable. Or is it? Complete the Danger in the Deep quest, wear a burglar ring and eat some monster musk, and then enter floor 40 in the dangerous versions of the regular mines. In here you will find these wood type creatures. They are easy to defeat and have a 100% chance to drop a key gem, so you could reliably farm for key gems without completing those tedious key quests. With the addition of the latest 1.5 update, we can now choose our game seed. Why does that matter? Because really smart people can find incredible seeds like this one. This seed will allow you to get an ancient fruit on the first day in a brand new playthrough. All you need to do is use this seed, run over to Linus's tent and hold this artifact spot right here, and just like that, a guaranteed day 1 ancient fruit seed. Imagine being in a world where you forgot to get lucky. Yeah, people do indeed live in a world like this. Please, I beg you. Remember that you need to get a rabbit's foot as soon as possible and then take that sucker to this shady guy here in this van. This will give you a permanent luck boost. This luck boost is small, but it matters. Trust me, you want this. So if for some reason you haven't done this yet, what are you doing with your life? Go get your free luck boost now. Having a farmhouse that looks like this is great and all, but don't forget that you have a basement, and the basement is the only place where you can use casks. This means that you need to have a perfectly optimized basement layout, as we are incredibly limited in how many casks we can have. If you are a normal person, then this is the best layout that you can use in your basement. There are 125 casks in here, and that is not bad at all. However, if you are incredibly patient, you can go with a layout like this, a full basement with absolutely nowhere to walk. Collecting all the wine is very painful, but it can be worth it, as there are almost 189 casks in this little basement. Not bad at all. Trellis crops are incredibly annoying, right? They stop you from walking freely and get in the way, but some trellis crops are incredible, like hops for example. This is the layout that I use for hop crops when I actually want to use them. This setup will allow you to have tons of hop crops with regular crops in between them and plenty of room to easily walk around without being too constricted. However, if you are in the late game, you could grow all of your trellis crops around a single Junimo hut like this. You will be unable to harvest any of these, but that's fine. The Junimos will be doing the harvesting for you. They can walk through the trellis crops with no problem. You can also do this with tea trees if you plan on actually planting them instead of selling them as they are. You need to get married or invite Krobus into your home for perfection, but if you suddenly ignore them for eternity, they will kind of hate you. Remember, you can remove the exhaustion debuff by kissing your spouse, but this will not work if they hate you. Imagine saving all of your geodes for a good luck day and spending the entire day there cracking them open. Luck has no impact on geodes. Rather utilize terrifyingly bad luck days to crack these open, as luck does impact other aspects of the game. Eventually you will have enough iridium ore, all of your tools will be fully upgraded, you'll have tons of iridium sprinklers and crystallariums. Now what do you do with the stuff? Stockpile them and gather dust? No, the blacksmith profession will net you 1,500 gold per iridium bar. That can most definitely help you get that golden clock. You love money, right? Of course you do, who doesn't? One of the easiest ways to become mega rich in this game is by abusing a magical ancient fruit. And the truth is that the earlier you get your first seed, the quicker you will become mega rich. Well, what if I told you that you can actually farm for these? First, you could enter floor 15 in the regular mines and defeat as many bugs as you can. Before you know it, you will get that ancient seed. But there is another way. If you plant multi-harvest crops like cranberries for example, you can turn those cranberries into seeds using a seed maker. There's a small chance that you'll get an ancient seed, but since you have so many crops, it is bound to happen.
This video has 20 things that pro Stardew players do in the latest 1.6 update. It is important that you go watch this video immediately. Thanks for watching, but for now, I will see you in the next video.